Hi guys, Deb Acker here, back with another video. And today's video is all about, what to do when you find yourself buying into someone's opinion for you and or of you, right? For those of you guys that don't know me, my name is Deb Acker. I'm an intuitive coach, and I work mainly with women to help them to heal their past, to heal childhood patterns, specifically around abandonment and the abandonment that can show up when we have physically and or emotionally unavailable parents, right? And so if you can relate to some version of having a physically and or emotionally unavailable parent, whether that was because, there was a divorce that occurred, or, a parent passed away, some addiction in the household, or your parent just worked a lot or were emotionally unavailable in some way, right? A lot of times what happens in that type of household is that we have a hard time setting boundaries, right? We don't really learn boundaries. In fact, tends to be a lot of enmeshment in the household. And when I say enmeshment, what I mean by that, right, is say, for instance, you have had a single parent growing up, right? You grew up with your mom, single parent, and she sought a lot of validation from you, right? She wanted to, be validated around everything, and even kind of enmeshed with you to feel whole or to feel okay, right? Because maybe, the divorce that had happened between her and your father, maybe that was hard on her, right? And so what ends up happening is you guys get enmeshed, and then it can be hard to say no to your mom, right? You don't want to hurt her feelings, right? So you end up not having a strong boundary system, right? So first and foremost, notice if that's true for you, right? Just notice if you can relate to that at all. Notice if that's true for you, but understand that, a lot of times why we can struggle so much with taking on others' opinions of us and for us, right, is because of that initial foundation in our households, right? And so, part of our journey as we return to these healthy beings, healthy adults, right, is learning how do we set a boundary. So, first and foremost, if you find yourself taking on, someone's opinion of you and or for you, right, you need to ask yourself, it's really important to ask, why are you buying into their opinion of you, right? And or why are you having a reaction to what it is that they're saying? Even deeper than this, a good question can be, what lives in me that created this, and what lives in me that has me buying into their opinion of me, right? It could be people pleasing. Am I scared to, to let them down, right? It could be, where, maybe, say for instance, a lot of interaction happening on social media, right? And there can be a lot of conflict or confrontation, right? So noticing if that's the case, maybe, causing a fight is a paradigm of how you felt seen. Maybe criticism was how you felt loved in your life, right? That was a big one in my household. So just noticing, what pieces of those feel true for you. And a lot of times that can be the piece that lives in us that, at least on one aspect, ends up creating a scenario where, again, someone criticizes us and we take on their opinion as truth, right? So if we look at the example, again, social media can be a good example around this. Also, like, say, for instance, someone criticizes your opinion of what you're wearing, right? And maybe something, maybe you, what they say, there's a part of it that feels true to you, right? Like there's a part of it that you were like, I'm worried that they were going to say that, right? And or I kind of feel that's true, right? So noticing that. And if there's a part of you that was like worried that someone was going to say that to you, in a part we can end up creating that as our reality, right? Because, it's like we make them right, right? It's like we make them right, which makes us right, right? It's like, oh, I knew that was going to happen, right? So we get to be right in that moment, right? So again, just noticing, if you can relate to any of those pieces. Once you have awareness, at least on some level, how this is serving you and or what belief lives in you that created them showing up for you like that in the first place, one of the things that you can do that's just very simple. So first of all, having that recognition, a lot of times if it's laying in the subconscious or the unconscious, right, bringing that to the surface just shifts, like can create a big shift in it or can create some version of a shift in it. So understand that just bringing that forward and bringing that up to the consciousness can really create a shift. With this too, you can start to see, and you don't have to overthink this, but just know if you set the intention, I see this leaving me, right? Because so many of those beliefs, again, they got stored in our body, and until they are brought to the surface, they can be a magnetizer for our present day experiences, right? So you can just set the intention, okay, you know, love equals criticism, or how I am, you know, how I feel seen in my life is to create fights or to create, you know, to get angry, right? And then you just see that like literally leaving your cells, leaving your body, right? You can visualize it in your head and or feel it leaving your body. And so that can be just, again, another powerful way to create that shift. Even verbalizing it and just saying, you know, I'm scared of being criticized, right? If that was your experience around why you're sort of getting really invested in their opinion, right? I'm scared of being criticized, or I believe what they said is true. If you said that out loud several times, again, not taking it on, but just seeing it leaving you. So it's like seeing the words, like, it's like if you had alphabet soup in your mouth, right? So seeing those words leaving you, again, that can create a huge shift for you. Once you've done that first part of actually starting to shift and heal the pattern, in the outer world, the second piece of this is being able and being willing to start to practice, how do I set my boundaries around this stuff, right? So an important distinction with that is, okay, you know, do I want to be in relationship with this person or not? So say, for instance, someone criticizes you in social media, you've never met them in real life, and maybe you don't really care if you have a relationship with them or not. You know, you may simply delete them, and or you may just simply say to them, that's not okay, right? And that's not really, when I say relational statement, you know, relational statements are about being in relationship with someone else, right? So that's not really a relational statement, but it is a boundary, right? The second piece of that is, if you do want to stay in relationship with that person, right? Sharing the impact that what they said has on you, right? And again, and you may want to, you know, if it's on social media, you may want to take it off, you know, offline, so to speak, either, you know, in a message, you know, a messenger, so to speak, or over the phone or in person, obviously. But really being willing to share the impact. So it's like, you know, when you said that, that really hurt me, right? Like that really, you know, really hurt me. And again, depending on how vulnerable you want to be, you might say that really hurt me because I also have that belief of myself, right? Or I was scared somebody was going to say that, right? So again, you get to determine how much you share, but recognizing that space of like, I'm just going to set a boundary and not be relational, and or I'm going to set a boundary, but I'm also going to be relational with that person so they can understand the impact. Because understand too, you know, in our environments when we were kids, a lot of times the subconscious energy was that people, you know, they were making decisions. So if your parent had an addiction, for instance, right? They were making a decision that wasn't really factoring their impact on you, right? So that might be one version of love in your life. And until you start to create that relationship, first and foremost from within, right? So really starting to honor your feelings and recognize, oh my God, what they said really hurt me, right? Or that's not okay. And you know, obviously building that self-love, right? If someone criticized, you know, how you look, right? Starting to build that, you know, self-love with appearance. It can be a lot of ways that you build self-love, but that's one way, right? And so once you start to factor your own impact and honor someone's impact on you, especially when they've hurt you, you're going to find that that gets not only reflected in your relationship with yourself, but obviously in your relationship with others in the world. So that is today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are liking these videos, go ahead and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also, at the bottom of this video in the description, you're going to find a link to my Healing Through Abandonment kit. This kit is awesome. It's an awesome way to really help you dive into, you know, really defining your sense of self, right? So that, you know, working through people pleasing, working through really to start to identify that truth within and really connecting to yourself, and obviously helping you to start to heal that abandonment so that you can really move through the world in a much easier way. So you can grab that kit at bit.ly/healingthroughabandonment. And again, that's at the bottom of this video. And of course, too, if you want more information, you can head to deboraacker.com. So thanks so much for watching. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of your day.